7 awesome tips for entrepreneurs in their 20s. Read this now before it's too late. Hello, my lovely entrepreneur friends. Today I'm going to share with you 7 awesome tips you need to know as an entrepreneur in your 20s. Alright, before we dive into this, I just want you to know that if you're in your 20s, whatever stage you are in right now is exactly where you need to be. Don't stress out. Barack Obama was scooping ice creams at Baskin Robbins. Donald Trump was a soda pop collector. The Rock was a dishwasher at a pizza shop, and Cardi B was a grocery store clerk at Amish market in New York. Wherever you are in your life right now, don't worry, you've got time. But here are some things that are going to help you. Number 1, a degree is not a ticket or an extra stepping stone to your success. I don't have a degree, and to be honest, I'm happy I don't, because I've changed my career path so many times, it would have cost me an unpayable amount of money. Also, if I was to get a degree, my degree would literally not help me at all in my journey so far. Another reason why not getting a degree was a great decision for me is that I can focus on what I want to do, which is making money in my online business and sharing valuable information with awesome people just like yourself online. I remember I wanted to be a policeman, pilot, penetration tester, foot soldier, and now I'm an online entrepreneur. Also, I dropped out of my IT class because I had no idea what the teacher was talking about. I got a merit in my business and marketing course, which is kind of funny since now I provide game-changing information and people love it, even though I don't have the highest grades in my class. One of the experiences that made me realize this was a graduation video called Valediction Carl Aquino, a 2010 graduate from West Hall High School. Everyone had the caps, the gowns, and everything. They go huddle into the gym, and as I'm looking at this video, I'm sitting there looking around a whole sea of people who were also graduating. However, what was crazy was that I realized that most of these kids didn't learn anything that was useful or going to help them make money. Not a single thing. They didn't know how to do their own taxes, how to successfully get a job, how to vote, learning about current events, what their basic human rights are, where does money really come from, and how do you invest for a happy retirement. I remember sitting there watching this video confused, thinking to myself, everybody looks so happy. I was like, all these guys have to go into the workforce tomorrow, and they're going to find out the real world is going to be extremely ugly. I was so blessed at the time. I had been trying to start my own business and didn't go to college, and I had something happening, so I knew the next day I was going to be working on my online business. But for all of them, I felt really bad. That's one of the biggest realizations I had, was that the degree, the piece of paper, isn't going to help you get a job in most places. In fact, Dan Lok, Grant Cardone, ClickFunnels, Mindvalley, Tesla, and many other high-rolling companies don't hire people based on degrees. They hire people based on their actual skill sets, which are completely different and a lot more reliable. For certain things, obviously, if you're going to be a doctor, dentist, or you're going to be cutting people open, you've got to have a degree. I would only let someone operate on me who had a degree. There are different things we need a degree for, but if you're an entrepreneur, you're not going to like school, I promise you that. You're going to struggle because entrepreneurship is about creating and breaking the rules, not about following a systematic process. And so, if you're an entrepreneur, that's why you're probably reading this blog post, you're going to have more success creating a vision, trying to figure out things, finding a team, building something, and having fun with that. That's where you're going to find your success and your happiness. On the other hand, there are two reasons why I do encourage you go to college initially. Number one, you want to stay there until you're making more money than your teacher. That's when you have the permission to drop out and quit. And number two, don't drop out until you figure out what you're going to be landing into. And when you have those things, then you're able to go and start your future. Number two, you never want to underestimate the importance of setting goals. When I started my online business in the very beginning, I remember the goal I set was I wanted to make $240 a day. The reason why was that I could prove to myself that this can work without me having to be a slave to my business. And it showed that this make money while you sleep passive income lifestyle you see all the time on your YouTube ads and Facebook ads were actually real. I think that's most people's goal, but it seemed so big. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to hit that. And so I did the math. $240 a day, that's $89,000 a year, that's $7,400 a month, and that's $10 an hour. I was really excited, except for the fact at the time I was making $0 a day. I was like, okay, well, there's the starting, there's where I need to get to, and I started trying to figure out ways I can make money every single day online. At first, nothing happened. A little while later, I started getting to the point of making $5 a day, and then $10 a day, and then $50 a day, and then $100 a day, and then $150 a day. And then I remember getting closer and closer until that day when I passed the magic number and I was on track to make over $240 a day. And to this day, that number, $240 a day, is still my favourite number because it is the thing that gave me my very first goal. Number 3. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jim Rohn, motivational speaker. This is true in many areas of your life. If you're hanging out with people who are worse than you, you're going to become like them. If you're hanging out with people who are greater than you, you're going to become like them. When you're starting your entrepreneurial journey, the people you spend the most time with are the people you're going to think like, which means if you want to start making more money, you've got to find people who are already doing that. Your mindset will rise to be like their mindset. You're going to be the equivalent of the 5 people you spend the most time with, which means choose your friends, choose your mentors, and choose the people you're spending time with correctly. If you're not careful, you're going to drop down to their level as opposed to rising up to the level of the people you want to be around. This was very true for me when I started my online business. All my friends were completely broke. I was trying to be around them and I was talking about these crazy numbers and my huge goals, and they were like, LMAO, you want to do what? Dude, calm down, be realistic. You're never going to reach that goal. You're just an average person like everyone else at this school. Only an extremely tiny amount of people ever get to become that. Besides, the rich and the powerful are greedy and evil. I remember it being hard, and then later I found that I had to go to seminars, webinars, and online communities. That's where I found people. I started getting around people who already made $1 million. Some making 5 million, 10 million. In fact, I remember a man called John Costani. He said he makes about $500,000 a month with affiliate marketing. And when I went into these communities and I said I want to make $240 a day, they were like, oh, really? Well, that's cute. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? You had these high-performing mentors say, that's really easy. And my mum was like, blown away. I was like, you can't be serious. You must be joking. That's when I realised my friends would say things like, that's impossible. There's no way you're ever going to reach that. However, all the way on the other side of the fence, you have people saying, that seems really easy. Why don't you set a harder goal? All this stuff just opens your mind and you expand your mind differently. You start looking at opportunities differently. I started looking and asking myself, what do they do? How do they do it? How do they think about opportunities? How do they create products? How do they drive traffic? All the things I had already figured out as I was able to look at and model it. A very quickly, my income started to rise to theirs because they believed it, and since they believed it, I believed it too. And belief is the key that really drives everything. That's why it's so important to be very careful about who you associate with, because you're going to become the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Number 4. Seek out a mentor. Now, if you look at any story, any movie of all time, the hero always goes on this journey. He always finds a guy that mentors somebody to take them and show them the path. Rocky had Mickey Goldmill, Poe had Master Shifu, and Cinderella had the fairy godmother. And you need a guide as well. A guide or a mentor, someone who's already been there and has already gotten the result you wanted. They've come back and they've got a map to show you exactly how to have success. And so for me, in any area of my life, when I started to lose weight, get in shape, build a business, grow my business, I always look for who's the mentor, who's the person who's already gone there and they've done it, they've come back, and I can ask them the questions and follow a step-by-step roadmap. It makes your success much simpler and much more likely to happen, as opposed to simply hoping and wandering in the woods, wishing to have success. One tip on an easy way to find a really good mentor is to look for somebody who's gone on this journey before, come back and wrote a book on it. Don't scroll past 9 must-read books for Aspiring Millionaires. Click the link in the description below to start watching this video for free now. The nice thing about that is the book can serve as the map and the guide to help you have success. Number 2 is a book you can read quickly. You can read it in a couple of hours and see if you resonate well with that person. Sometimes you're going to find somebody who may have done it, but you don't really like their personality. You don't connect with them. You put it away and find another person until you find something you like, and then go deep with that person. Read their book, buy their course, sign up for their coaching program, and get mentored by them so you can get the success that you've been looking for. The first business mentor I had was a guy named Dan Locke. He was doing what I was dreaming about doing. He'd written a couple of books. I bought his books and was fascinated by everything he was saying. Eventually, I started contacting him on Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, email, and I even sent him a copy of my book, Skills, Scale, Sustainability, to his address. And finally, I got a hold of him. I was lucky enough to get a hold of him on LinkedIn 2 or 3 times, where I could tell him where I was and where I was trying to go. And he would say, well, if this was me, this is what I would do. And he would literally walk me through step by step to exactly what I need to do to become successful. And to this day, I'm grateful for him and his guidance. He has helped me get to where I am today. Number 5. Taking more responsibility for your own life. Many people want to cast blame on somebody else. oh, my boss did this, my friend did this, the government did this, my teacher did this, my parents didn't do this for me, if only I had this, I wish I had that. For you to be successful in your life, you must take extreme ownership of every single decision you make. If you fail, it's your fault. If you're not happier now, it's your fault. If you're not getting the results in life you want, it's actually your fault. I know it's hard to hear. Sometimes you want to blame it on somebody else, but as soon as you're able to take personal responsibility, then you can change it. You can't change it if it's somebody else's fault. But if you take personal responsibility, you can shift your mind so you can make changes. You can get a coach, you can get a mentor, you can do a bunch of things and make something better out of it. That's why it's so important to understand that a great quote by Tony Robbins said, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. If you understand that every single thing that's happened, good or bad, positive or negative, these things aren't happening to you, they're happening for you. If you look at it through that lens, then you can ask yourself, how can this help me grow? How am I going to become a better person because of this thing, even if it seems horrible? Take personal responsibility, and then you can change. That's how you progress and how you grow. I wish someone would have told me that, because I think I've been pretty good overall trying to take personal responsibility. But looking back on some of my life, there have been times where I say to myself, yikes. There were so many times where something wouldn't happen and I blamed the government, my friends, my family, the place I was born, the economy, or the mentor I was following. And I realised, looking back now, me blaming those people just kept me in the dirt. It didn't help me or change anything. It wasn't until I stepped back and realised I've got to change something. I put it on my own shoulders and was able to make a shift and change my direction and have the success I wanted. This is one of the most important things I would tell any beginner entrepreneur in their 20s, and that is to make sure you always take responsibility for everything in your life. Number 6. Read Skills, Scale, Sustainability. The link is in the description below. Nah, I'm just kidding. But if you haven't got your copy yet, what are you doing? You should 100% read that this instant. Yes, I've had to go. I want my massively discounted copy now. Click link in description down below. But literally, it's read, read, read. You've got to be reading. Some people have taken a decade of their life. They've gone through trial, error, and problems just to figure out everything. They've come back, they spent a year writing a book, giving it to you, and you can take this book and harness a decade of their life, and you can read it in a day. Why would you not want to do that? I remember a great quote on Twitter from a guy called the Stoic Emperor, at the Stoic Emperor, and he said, reading is not a chore, reading is theft. It is a robbery. Someone smarter than you has spent 20 years beating their head against the wall trying to solve the problem you're dealing with. You can steal that hard-earned knowledge and make it yours. That is power. Read a book, because if you do that, you're learning from other people's experiences, which is much better way to learn than going through every single one of these trials and problems on your own. When I was younger, I hated reading. It wasn't until later in my life I started reading again. After I got a couple of books I liked, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I kept reading more and more and more, and by reading, you get better at learning. You get faster, your mind gets sharper, and so that way, when you're older, think of how many lessons you would have learned, and you can be able to use these as opposed to if you started reading when you're in your 30s or 40s. Reading often trains your brain to absorb more information, and it expands your brain and expands your mind, so you can control and hold more inside your head as well. Number 7. Be humble. This is important because we've all seen people strive for success, especially young people, and the first thing that will happen to you is that you will think it's all about you. It will get to your head, and you'll say to yourself, wow, I'm so amazing at this. Look how skilled and cool I am. Nothing can stop me. It happened to me, so I know it's going to happen to you as well. The biggest thing I found is that the first time my business grew and it crashed, I realized it wasn't all about me. It was about my team, other people, my mentors, and God. It was from all these different things. And when you think it's all you, your ego gets way too big, and the crash is big and painful. If I could give you any warning in your 20s as a beginner entrepreneur, it's to be very careful about this, especially when you're growing in your business. It's very easy to be a bit too proud of what you're doing. Don't let it overgrow your ego, because if it does, that is going to be hard for you and the people around you. It's not all about you. Believe me, you'll find that out soon. Well, there you have it. We have reached our destination. Those are my 7 awesome tips for entrepreneurs in their 20s. Wait, don't leave this video just yet. I want you to understand that this journey of entrepreneurship is fun. However, it's really hard. There's going to be ups and it's going to be downs. But the key is, if you really believe in what you're doing, if you believe that you are changing people's lives through your business, that's how you last for a long time. I've been doing this for quite some time, and I've seen a lot of people who have started businesses and then disappeared, and I hadn't seen them since. And I've seen a few people who've gone on for decades or more, and the difference of the people who love and serve their customers at the highest level, those are the ones that are still around. People who are here to try to make a quick buck, and the other ones who aren't around anymore. So make sure you focus on who's your customer that you want to serve. How can I help them? And then from there, your ideas of being an entrepreneur are going to grow. You're going to think of ideas, products, and services. All the ideas will come when you focus on what market do you want to serve in. How can you change their life? Focus on that here in your 20s, and by the time you're older, and you will have an empire, and you'll be able to change a lot of people's lives around the world. That said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you got any value, please share this with as many people as possible. Why? Because the more people who are motivated to get into entrepreneurship and make products that will better the lives of everyone, the happier this planet will become. However, we must give the youth the courage to stand out and make a difference in this world. If we give them the tools, encouragement, and courage they need, we can create more successful business owners that will positively add to our country and economy. I had the same thing happen to me. If it wasn't for the kindness of Dan Locke, I would have never gotten the motivation to make my own business and educate others around the world. And all of that started because one person bothered to share their message with me, and that can be all possible with just one simple share from you. Please do that tiny favour for me. Thank you in advance.